I can do it, Steve. Oh no.
Go ahead, master recording. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. So as I was saying, what we wanted to do is try and think of, I guess, the world more in terms of how retailers see it, rather than the world as a technology company sees it. So the best way to do that, we felt, and this is from feedback from our retail customers, is to try and position technology and solutions in the context of a retail store. So how does it impact things like operational efficiency? How does solutions and technologies impact compliance or inventory management? And above all, how can we impact the customer experience? So what we have, and as you see on screen, is essentially we've created a large retail store, a hypermarket, if you like, within which we have a number of different environments. And in each environment, we have, I guess we've highlighted a number of technologies that we feel are at play that can help improve the processes within that particular environment. Now, of course, that's simply the what we're seeing as the highlighted or spotlighted areas, but that doesn't mean to say those solutions only apply to these specific locations. They can, of course, apply in many cases across the whole of your retail business, but it's just the way to bring them to life. So what you see at the moment is the outside of the store. And if I click enter here, we come to essentially a layout view of the store, and you'll see with the blue buttons all these different environments, these different areas within the retail store, including sort of the entrance to the store on the left-hand side, but also the back of the store and where vehicles arrive and how products themselves get in, because that's often where there's a lot of focus in terms of certainly inventory management and processes to get right. So lots of different environments. I will go through quite a few of these. We don't have time to go through every single one today, but I'll try and cover most of the solution areas. We cover this in two ways. So as you see, obviously, you've got the map view at the top, and if I hover over any of those areas, I can go into the different areas and see what the link is. But equally, those links are also simply listed out below, and I can also get to those areas by a direct link from below. So the nice thing about this type of approach is that it's very much focused on you as a retailer or as a partner in your discussions with retail customers to be able to have a discussion that is centered around what you want to talk about. So this is not like a PowerPoint presentation, which we would normally do, which is very linear, where we would start at the beginning and run through from beginning to end, and inevitably in any PowerPoint presentation, there will be slides or information that is not so interesting to you. This type of approach allows us to really focus a conversation on maybe a part of the store that is of a challenge or a business improvement project that you're working on, and that you would like to see how Zebra and technology can play a part there, or indeed simply focusing on the type of solutions that you're particularly interested in. So you could dive straight into those. Now, for the purposes of this run through, I'm going to start off at number 1. And this takes us straight into the store entrance. So after a little bit of rendering, then the image appears. And in our typical hypermarket store, at the store entrance, obviously the customer comes in and sees members of staff, but also needs to choose how they're going to shop today. And one of the things that we've certainly seen over the last 12 to 18 months, particularly with the pandemic across the regions, is that there's been a significant increase in the use of self-service technologies, whether that's self-checkout at the point of sale, but also increasingly self-scanning. both in terms of self-scanning in a grocery type store, but also in DIY and other types of environments, both in equally in devices owned by the retailer, but also with mobile phones as well. And we think both are part of the same environment. But what we do see is mobile phones have a very low adoption rate from customers, but are fine for very small shopping trips, so 4 or 5 items perhaps in a basket. But once you get over that, customers want to use a device that is owned by the retail store. So as you see from this particular environment, this is a typical self-scanning scan and go wall with the kiosk screen to release the devices, usually based upon a loyalty card. And then if we want to find out more about this particular solution, I would hover on the blue cross around this solution, and I can get a short description of that solution. And then if I click through and find out more, the way we've set this up at the moment is certainly that it then takes us, I'll just make that slightly bigger, it takes us to the zebra.com webpage and video all about Scan and Go, the personal shopping solution, and in particular the PS20 from Zebra. And then as part of that page, you have access obviously to information about that particular product, that solution, but also some of the customers, the success stories, who's using it, why they're using it, and what are they getting from that solution in terms of both efficiencies, but also customer experience. So that had opened in a new tab, and I can then just click back onto the other tab, and it brings me straight back to this environment. So the other thing that happens at the start of the store, of course, is I might actually want to meet a member of staff and find out, I might be coming in to ask a question, for example. So in-store customer engagement is another area of solution that we have as Zebra. And the solution that we're referring to here is our Workforce Connect solution. This is either a voice or a push-to-talk type solution that allows members of staff to communicate freely with each other, very much in a walkie-talkie type style, either with individuals or groups, and understand, therefore, that they don't have to walk through the store to find another member of staff to ask a question. They can actually contact another member of staff, whether it's a colleague or a manager, and get the answer to those questions straight away, which means they can improve their service level to the customer who's standing in front of them at the time. So this is very much about improving customer service through connecting colleagues together through a voice-based solution. And again, by clicking on the cross, we get a bit more description as to the Workforce Connect solution. And then this particular one links to a video about Workforce Connect and exactly how that works. So if that's something that becomes of interest to you, then that would be a great way to find out more information. And then also in this virtual tool, below the sort of main screen here, we have access to Scan and Go case studies, the detailed information about the PS20 product that is used for Scan and Go, and also detailed information about Workforce Connect as a solution and how that works. So lots of information there, and we're only at the entrance to the store. Now, I can either from this point go back to that original store plan, that flat layout, and then choose somewhere else in the store, or I can simply click on the blue arrows on the right-hand side here and move to what we would say is probably the next in the linear journey for the customer in particular. And we're doing this a lot from a customer perspective. Now, one reason they may well have returned or come to the store is because they've got a product that they bought last time, they've tried it on, and now they want to return that product. And again, a lot of the discussions we're having with retail customers right now relates to the fact that with the big increase in e-commerce and online sales, what they've also noticed and to an extent suffered from is the fact that the returns rate has gone up significantly. And we know that returns are 3 times as high on e-commerce purchases to store-bought purchases. Now that's fine, but we know that returns management is hard. It takes a lot of labor in terms of staff generally have to receive the items, check the items, and process a refund. So one of the things that we have developed as a solution is a returns kiosk, which you can see here. And this returns kiosk essentially automates the process of returns. So the customer simply goes to the touchscreen, is able to register the product that they're returning. They fill in their details and obviously the product details, and then the door to this kiosk opens up and they can place the return product into the kiosk. And the system automatically then knows what product has been returned. And rather than having a member of staff having to take that, the return refund is processed via the internal system. So that's all about the returns kiosk. These are manufactured by Zebra for customers on demand. So that's another solution that might be certainly of more interest these days now that e-commerce has increased. We also have within this, I said it was a hypermarket, so it's not just grocery. We can also obviously have discussions around fashion, what happens in a typical clothing or apparel store environment. And a lot of that centers around ensuring that we know what inventory we have in place. And there are lots of different ways to manage that inventory and manage the customer experience when it comes to fashion and apparel. So on the left-hand side here, we have what we call the manual RFID inventory counting. So whether that is the annual count that you might have, and we have a solution called Smart Count, which is a software as a service or a sort of hardware as a service as well, a rental model for devices, which can be either counting using barcodes or using RFID. So that's a more annualized software as a service type model, or simply using mobile devices with RFID sleds to be able to count the items in the store on a more regular basis, whether that is daily or weekly, to be able to improve the accuracy of the inventory that is in the store. And this is becoming even more important these days, simply because, well, for 2 reasons. Firstly, customer expectations are extremely high, and therefore customers, when they come into the store, they want to know that the size and fit of items is available to them. And if not, they want staff to be able to tell them as soon as possible that it's not, we don't have it in your size, but we can order it from the warehouse. So that's a much better customer experience rather than a member of staff saying, oh, the system says we have it, but I can't find it. That's a very negative experience. So that allows that. Also, an improved rate of accuracy and visibility also allows the retailer to think about actually fulfilling of online orders from the store. One of the reasons why you might not want to do that is simply because you don't have the inventory accuracy. RFID certainly gets you much closer to that accuracy level to be able to pick from the store. Now, there's different ways to do that. So I covered the handheld route, but there is also in sealing, so what we might call a perpetual inventory visibility route. And we have a solution called Smart Lens. Smart Lens places sensors into the ceiling of the store. You can see by these sort of radio buttons dots on the screen right now about how the coverage of the store works, and sensors, RFID sensors, are permanently and perpetually looking for RFID tags, and particularly pick them up when they're moving around the store, so that we always know what products are in the store, what products are back of store, how they're moving around the store, and whether they are bought and paid for through the point of sale. We can even see with Smart Lens if products have gone into the fitting room, so somebody's trying them on, and if they then move from the fitting room to the point of sale, or stay in the fitting room, in which case we can send a task to a member of staff to actually go and collect those items and put them back on display, so that we constantly have the right merchandising display and execution for our next customer coming in. So that is the benefit, some of the benefits that SmartLens delivers to you. RFID and other Zebra technologies can also help by improving the experience in the fitting room itself. So that could be relating to smart mirrors. So as you move into the fitting room, the RFID sensor senses the items that you've taken in and then links those items to the data that you have on those items. This allows you to move in that way of, some people call it phygital, so the physical and the digital. The type of engagement you have with a customer online when they click on the page of a shirt, for example. Online, of course, if they're looking at a shirt online, you're able to suggest the trousers, the belt, the jacket, and the rest of the outfit that goes with that shirt. RFID gives us the ability, the trigger, if you like, to be able to create that type of experience in a physical store, which I know is a challenge that a lot of retailers are looking to try and solve right now. And in order to do that, obviously RFID plays a strong part, but also a customer concierge screen, as we call it, helps. So the ability to take that information and to present it to a customer in the fitting room and link to any information or data that you have. So what we call our customer concierge, our CC6000 product, allows you to do that. It even comes integrated with a loudspeaker and also a barcode scanner. So if you simply want to link customers to the data on the products that they've taken into the fitting room via barcode rather than RFID, you can do that too. So it gives them access to more information. It's a point of information, if you like, and very easy to set up and install, and usually linked to data that you already have. So very quick and easy to get that started. So that's the apparel and fashion area. And again, below the screen, we have links to more information, both on our RFID hardware technologies, but also in this case on our supplies, so our RFID tags and labels that we produce from our printing division. Other solutions move into other areas such as pharmacy, and trying to make sure we keep stores safe and legal. And one of the ways we can do that with our solutions is we made an acquisition as a business last year of a company called Reflexis. Now, Reflexis has a number of different solution areas that they develop and offer. It starts off with workforce scheduling, so making sure you have the right people in the store, and that's fairly critical to compliance anyway. Making sure that they can actually self-serve as well to sign up for work schedules. Also, they have a task management solution, so an advanced task management solution that essentially puts in front of each worker what are their tasks for the day, what should they be working on, and more information around those tasks. And those tasks can be updated during the day. That helps to reduce the amount of supervision required for each individual member of staff. So that certainly helps. Then, what we're referring to here on screen is a very specific area that comes under the Reflexis portfolio called the Q Suite. And Q Suite is a number of areas where we can essentially take what would have been paper processes. So, for example, it might be a series of process steps we have to go through if a customer returns a product, or a process steps if we have a product recall, for example. And that allows us to make sure that we digitize that, and that every time a recall happens, for example, then we've gone through exactly the right steps. Those are recorded digitally. And from a head office point of view, we now have a digital audit, a digital record of those steps having taken place. So that's what we call QWalk and QSuite as part of the Reflexis offering. Also within pharmacy, we work very hard with a lot of pharmacy businesses on track and trace and labeling of samples of drugs to ensure that people get the right information on the pills and drugs that they're having to take. And again, this would link to other areas talking about that, and more information on both the QWalk that I talked about and our label printing right below. Customer service desk is critical part of a store, specifically if you've got a different dedicated customer service desk and not just the point of sale desk that you might have in a smaller store. And at that customer service desk, you can have the click and collect of items, so linking those online orders but with a physical welcome and handover of those products. That might be one way you look at things, or that might be a more self-service way of doing it, where you simply take the concierge screen that I was talking about a minute ago and allow that customers to interact with a concierge screen to sign in or check in to the store to say they're here to pick up an order, or maybe they want to do something else related to the services that you have available in your retail store. So lots of different things at the customer service desk. We can also cover solutions around checkouts. So again, associates or staff communicating with each other to make sure that any issues at checkout. So these things happen all the time. For example, a customer may have brought a product to the checkout with them that for some reason has not got a barcode on it. So the checkout staff are forever either having to leave their post to go and get a new example of that product that does have a barcode, or they're having to wait until they see another member of staff. A simple voice communication using Workforce Connect allows them to communicate with another member of staff to request that product, and therefore to speed up the transaction and process with the customer, improving the overall customer experience. Additionally, at our checkout and in our checkout solutions, as you can see by the highlighted blue areas here, Zebra for a few years now has been manufacturing point of sale scanners. Obviously, we've done standalone scanners, but also these are bioptic scanners. So it started with the MP6000 and now the MP7000. These are deployed already all around the world, and they are extremely good at reading difficult to read barcodes. And we know that in the food sector, frequently you bring customers bring products to the point of sale that maybe have damaged barcodes or barcodes that have ice covering them, etc. We know that these scanners are very good at reading most of those barcodes. Also integrated now into these point of sale scanners, we have the option to have a camera, a physical camera in these devices, and that can be linked up to an AI solution to be able to recognize products. And a number of our partners offer AI product recognition solutions to help in a number of ways. First of all, it might be to make sure that the product that's being presented is the product is the same as the barcode that is being presented, to avoid shrink and potential loss. But also, when you bring a product to a point of sale, maybe it needs weighing, and then the camera helps you to recognize, or helps the customer to recognize that product and suggest that looks like an avocado, and therefore the customer can simply tap yes, rather than having to go through a number of different button presses to try and find where the barcode or where the code for avocados is on the screen. So that, again, improves the customer experience. So as I said, I won't go through all of these again. the same checkouts and communication technologies can be used at staffed checkouts as well, and then other types of scanners also can be implemented at checkout. Then when we move into the store itself and store processes, again, there's a lot of areas where Zebra can help. I talked about Reflexis, and obviously task management is absolutely key, particularly when it comes to staff having to pick orders for customers for online orders. We need to do this as efficiently as possible. So getting those tasks down to individual members of staff and monitoring how fast they are or how quickly they can get those orders processed, so that we can then confirm back to customers that their order is ready for collection. We see speed as being almost the new price when it comes to omnichannel and online ordering. And many retailers, particularly in the grocery sector, are heading closer and closer to this promise of a 1 hour availability from point of order. And now that's really ambitious, but we see a lot of companies doing that. We also see a lot of startup ISVs and partners entering this space, whether it's the Turkish firm Get Here or Wheeze or Whoosh, and Ocado are doing the same with Zoom. So there's a lot of things happening in terms of how to speed up that ordering, not just the ordering process, but actually the picking and delivery. So managing those tasks is absolutely critical, and that's certainly an area where we can help with Reflexis, or many of our partners also have picking solutions in that respect. On-shelf availability is absolutely critical, not just in terms of when customers come in, as I mentioned before in the apparel section, but also when picking. So when staff are picking for customers' orders and they don't find the product that the customer has ordered, this becomes very difficult, because it means that that member of staff is not able to fully pick that customer's order. And this creates challenges. Do you substitute? So in a grocery environment, do I take one brand and substitute it for another because the original brand required wasn't available? And we all know that people can be very sensitive towards certain brands. So substituting a different brand may cause a very negative customer reaction. But is that a worse reaction to the customer not getting any coffee, for example? So we have to weigh up those issues. We also have to weigh that against whether or not, if we do put a substituted product in there and the customer doesn't want it and they reject it, therefore, how do we manage the return of that from our online ordering process? And then we have to obviously credit that. So a lot of complications when it comes to the picking side that can actually be solved if we have better accuracy of products in the store. So our analytics portfolio, a company we bought 2 years ago called Profitect, which we now know as Zebra Prescriptive Analytics, allows us to keep a better eye using your existing data, to keep a better eye and focus on the products that we believe that we have in the store, from monitoring the exact sales in near real time, and therefore suggesting, based upon the data, what we believe products are in stock or not, and then creating tasks for members of staff. If we see any anomalies in the patterns that we're looking at, then they send the task to a member of staff to go and check a certain product type. So that's how we use prescriptive analytics to improve on-shelf availability. And there's more information, as I say, on all of those through this tool, but also on request. Now, if you think about inventory as a whole, we're very pleased that we're able to offer a number of different solutions when it comes to inventory management. I talked about the prescriptive analytics. We've also talked about RFID and our Smart Count solution for annual and cycle counts. But we can also use manual scanners. We can also have available what we call our smart lens solution that we talked about before, if products have RFID tags. We also offer now a mobile automation system. This robot that you see on the screen has a full solution behind it, integrated with images to be able to understand and look at what's happening on the shelf, even to the extent of looking at the labels, the price labels that are on the shelf, checking the description, the price is correct compared to the point of sale, looking at the product, making sure the product is in the right place, seeing whether or not there are gaps in the product shelf, and then reporting on that, and again taking that to the extent of creating a task for a member of staff to replenish those products if needs be, or to simply move those products around if the planogram is incorrect. So a lot of information comes out of having an automated system that is looking at the shelf edge. We also work with partners who have cameras that are looking across the shelves, and that is another way of improving the inventory management. So when it comes to inventory management, or the performance of the inventory or stock in your stores, then Zebra has a very broad set of options, and it may well be that a combination of those works, because you might have RFID tagged products in one area, you might have grocery products in another area, and therefore there is no single silver bullet. It's actually working with ourselves and yourselves to work out what is the right mix of products that will give you the optimized visibility of your inventory, both for customers and for staff who are picking for customer orders. So I won't go through all of the areas as I mentioned. We've covered some of the key ones. As I move through, you can see the different areas of the store, whether it's the sort of cold or freezer unit at the back of store. You can see the back of store itself and how we store products, and which of the Zebra operations and tools and solutions can help with the inventory at the back of store. And that could be smart lens, it could be scanning, it could be RFID. There are different solutions that help there as well. Another area I do want to briefly focus on, I talked about Reflexis, and Reflexis really starts from understanding the requirement for staff in your stores based upon historical values, based upon peak times, etc., based upon staff skills and roles, and therefore leverages that data to make suggestions as to what staff should be available at different times, and then offers a self-service version for staff they can have on their mobile devices to be able to sign up to different shifts and manage their own timings. So Reflexis absolutely helps to improve the labor utilization in the store. And then one of the other things we often see is at the back of store, there are mobile devices, Zebra mobile devices and others lying around in lots of different locations, some of them being charged, some of them not being charged. One of the other things we offer is, again, from our custom products unit, a series of different size cabinets where you can not only store, but charge and sign out and manage the devices that you're using for your staff at the back of store. This gives you greater utilization of those devices, greater visibility of which devices are being used, and greater understanding of if you have potential problems with those devices. So putting those into a cabinet certainly helps. Outside of the store, customers increasingly have ordered online, but are using either a click and collect or a curbside, it doesn't really matter what you call it, option to pick up their products. So increasingly, we're seeing Zebra products and solutions being used as a way of helping to improve the handover, so the recognition of who is the customer, validation of their order by scanning the barcode from their phone or their order sheet, and then handing over the products to them at the curbside or just outside the store or just inside the store. And we also have, as you can see in the picture, a number of partners who offer lockers that help to facilitate that process as well. At the very back of store itself, of course, products have to arrive before we can sell them. But also we know that if we're picking from store, products are then put into the back of vans frequently and then shipped out to customers' homes. So here we talk about omnichannel fulfillment again, and ensuring that drivers, for example, have the right mobile devices, that we can monitor where the drivers are, we can send them a schedule of deliveries and give them additional instructions in real time. And the same is true of drivers who are delivering to the store. And also then we have the receiving of products when they come to the back of store. Again, a critical point when it comes to inventory management, to know what products have arrived, to actually positively receive those items at back of store, rather than to simply assume that the deliveries will always be right because they're coming from our warehouse. We hear stories all the time of wrong deliveries, missed items in the delivery, and even missing roll cages and totes. So positive receiving is absolutely key. And that could also include RFID as a technology, whether it's a roll cage, a box. We're working on a number of projects for receiving back of store, all of those types of solution or products rather. So that takes us back, and if I go back to the store plan itself, it's been a fairly quick run through. Hopefully I've covered most of the areas that might be of interest to you. As Steve said earlier on, if you want a more detailed explanation of any of those solutions, or simply a more in-depth understanding of how we operate either at back of store or in front of store or scan and go, then please let us know using the email address events@zebra.com. And with that, Steve, I guess I will hand back to you to manage the Q&A, and obviously I'll stay on the line.
Thank you, Mark. If we stay on your screen for the moment, so we'll focus on the partner element and how we can make this available for you to use with your customers in just a minute. Before doing that, thank you, Mark, for the tour around our Zebra store. I hope you all enjoyed the experience, but any questions for Mark about the store, about the solutions featured? I think you will be on mute, so feel free to type a question in chat if you prefer, or take yourself off mute to just ask any questions which you might have. Okay, I think there's a lot to take in there, Mark. So no, if there are no questions, I guess I'll bring up my screen again if I can.
You can also, of course, use the chat function if you've got a particular question that you want to raise, and we'll either answer it immediately or we'll come back to you directly.
Okay, so can you all see my screen again?
We have it.
So also to say that we are going to be repeating this session both next Wednesday and the Thursday after that. You should actually have invites for both those sessions in your inbox. If you don't and you would like them, just please email events@zebra.com and we can forward it on to you. But in particular, for example, if you've got any colleagues you think might be interested in the different solutions featured, please encourage them to attend, and say we will be forwarding, repeating the session and doing further tours both next Wednesday and the Thursday after that. If there are no questions now, what we'll do is focus more from a partner perspective and give specific guidance for how you could use the tool both internally and with your customers. So there's nothing confidential about this. So if you are a retailer, feel free to carry on if you'd like, but probably feel free to drop as well and give yourself a little bit of time back. So we will be focusing specifically in terms of how our partners can leverage the tool with their customers. So if I start looking at it from a partner's perspective, what we're going to do now is give you a little bit of guidance in terms of how you can log in. The briefing video, I think that's essentially what Mark has just gone through. We've also got a supporting slide deck to help you talk potential customers or indeed colleagues through the environment, and software as a service. Some of the features, the options which Mark featured, essentially are currently available to partners on a referral basis. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end as well. And obviously we will be trying to make a bit of time for questions in terms of how you can use a tool, anything which you might have. So if I start off in terms of how to log in, we will be making this slide deck, including the link, available to you. We'll also be putting it on Partner Gateway. We want to do it with the recording, so it's probably going to be around Wednesday before it's loaded onto the retail page on Partner Gateway. You can see the link at the bottom there. So we will be loading all this, including the link. Essentially, if you click on the link, you'll get to a front screen where it says I'm a partner, I am a Zebra employee. If you click on the I am a partner option, what that will take you to is a login screen. So each time you use a tool, you'll go to the screen. So just simply put your name, your company, your country, email address. Also, we're asking who's viewing this. So for example, it might be that you want to do an internal briefing, maybe to share the environment with a colleague. So in which case you put internal. It might be you want to talk a customer thread, in which case you put customer. The reason we're doing this, we're not asking for details of the customers you're sharing with this, but obviously this is a significant investment. We hope it will add a lot of value to your conversations, and we do want to be able to track it, know how it is being used by a partner community, and also partly to help us justify making further enhancements to the tool as we go forwards. Once you've entered your details, you just simply click submit, and then you'll be into the environment as Mark just walked you through. And clearly this is meant to be an interactive tool. In a sense, we try to give you an overview of all the different solutions featured, but really I think the power is it's consultative, it's enabling an interactive conversation. So instead of simply presenting slides, you can have a more of a two-way conversation, what particular solutions might be of interest to customers, and obviously how you can help provide them. If I then, so we will be adding the recording which we've just done to this. What we've also got is a supporting slide deck. So this goes through the overall holistic visuals of what's included within the virtual retail environment. It then takes you through each of the different elements in turn. So this is very much the same as what Mark talked you through. But for example, if you were having a discussion with a customer, possibly over a Zoom call, and if you did have two screens, you could potentially print this, have this showing on one screen and the actual environment on the other, just to make sure that you know what each plus you click, what's going to come up to help you have that conversation. Another option would be to also print it out. We have included in here all the different links. If you find out more, what does that bring up? So you can watch a video. So if you know there's certain elements you think your customer will be interested in, then clearly you can have a look at the video to make sure that you're fully prepared for that discussion. So if you see this, it really is replicating the environment, but putting all the links in just to make sure that you, as you're going through and guiding your customer, you know what's going to be happening next, and to help you have that conversation. I'm going to skip through this quickly, but you see there's a complete presentation to help you to best leverage the tool. What I'm going to get, if I can go right to the end, is a little bit about software as a service partner guidance. I think some of the features solutions which Mark featured are around our new software as a service portfolio. Now, I think with a lot of our new solutions, the way we're approaching this and taking it to market, we are very much committed to our partner-centric approach. You are what makes Zebras work. At the moment, it is sold through partners on a referral basis only, but we are looking at how, as we go through this year and into next year, how we can develop the partner framework to enable you to sell it. So look out for more news on that coming shortly. Clearly this is not going to be for every partner, but we are always looking at how we can first of all develop these solutions, particularly where they're a little bit more complex in nature, how we can package them up and make them available based on our learnings to our partner community. So more to come on that one as we go into next year. But at the moment there is a referral scheme which has been launched, and there are details on Partner Connect to give you more information on that in terms of how it works and how you can take advantage of it if you do, or maybe you do use a tool and this just generates some interest to obviously reward you for any referrals which you might make. So with that, if I just say that's the last thing I wanted to cover. So we will be loading it all on Partner Gateway. We'll also do a follow-up email for those who attended. So really, I guess for any partners out there, if you would like any more information or if you have any questions, please do again email events@zebra.com. So make sure you do. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get onto the. So please do take advantage of that and do email. But from a partner perspective, does anybody have any questions about the tool, how you can use and take advantage of the tool? So please look on chat or do take yourself off mute if you want to ask those questions verbally. Okay, well, hopefully we've done a great job of both explaining the tool and know how you can take advantage of it. We will be following up with you, so thank you very much for your attention today. As I say, please do email events@zebra if you do have any questions or you would like any more information, and we will look to load this presentation with the link so you can start using the tool with either your colleagues or your customers. I'll expect that it does take a little while to load, so it should be there by the close of business Wednesday, possibly a little bit earlier. So I think that's it from me. Mark, is anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's it from me. And if anybody feels like contact me directly, and they're free to do that as well.
Fantastic. So with that, I guess we'll close the session. So thank you very much for your attention.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you.